TravelPlex Smart Tips. 10 things you need to know before your trip. Okay, so number 4, seat selection. So we're going to go into a little bit more detail there. So when does it matter where you sit? And we kind of discussed that. When you have to self-transfer. Should you have a layover for less than an hour? Definitely if you have a layover for less than an hour or for an hour, you want to make sure that you are seated as close as you can be seated to the front. See, if you are tall or have problems with joints or legs, as I said, if you know at any point that you are not feeling well, by all means, you better pay for that seat. And even if you were feeling well up until the day of the flight, you need to go to the ticket person and say, hey, is it possible for you to buy that seat? Because you're not going to want to be, I mean, you could cripple yourself sitting uncomfortably like that for 10 hours. And practically, you're not going to be able to get up as much as you like to think you would, especially if you're sandwiched between people. I mean, how often are you going to be able to say, excuse me, I got to get up and go and walk around? So, yeah. Number 2, should you ever purchase a seat? A, when the distance is longer than 2 or 3 hours, which is what I stated. B, if you have joint or leg problems. C, if you have a short layover, self-transfer, or have to change airports. 5, baggage purchases. 1, when using budget travel options such as Spirit, Frontier, and now if traveling economy with major airlines such as American, Delta, or United, checked bags are normally extra. American, Delta, and United would not charge for first 2 checked bags if traveling internationally, but domestic travel options may be subject to purchases. Be sure to add luggage as if it was a part of the ticket when budgeting. This cost is usually not marginal, but significant in cost. So when you're looking at budgeting and you're seeing that $50 ticket for Spirit, you need to already know before you even look at Spirit, am I going to have to get bags and how many am I going to have to get? How much are the costs of those bags? Because I think with Spirit, and that's why I use them, it doesn't, okay, it does increase, like if you have to get it the day you're going to fly, but for the most part, you can check to see, and it's usually standard, what the cost is for bags. So you're going to want to check what their baggage fees are. You're going to want to already, whenever you're looking at a ticket, add that to it. So if you see a ticket that says $50, okay, well, $50 for this, but I'm going to need 2 bags. And remember, check their weight limits because they recently, last time I flew with them, they were 40 pounds instead of 50 pounds. So that being stated, you don't have 100 pounds. You're looking at 80 pounds. So if you needed 2 bags. So keep that in mind. So with budget traveling, you need to put that in there. So if it's 50 and then the bag's going to cost you another 120, then you basically got a $170 ticket. That still may be better than every other ticket. But I'm saying when you're looking at that list of tickets, keep that in mind. Now, if you are a person who, hey, 1 bag will work if you got 50 pounds, but you only need 2 bags because it's 40 pounds, then when you're looking at the price differential, you need to take that under consideration as well. Well, if I fly, even though I got to pay for it, Delta economy, yeah, this maybe $130 for theirs. But if it's $170 with 2 bags for Spirit, but I can get away with only 1 bag, and that 1 bag is $35 or $25 with Delta, then the Delta ticket is actually cheaper. So you need to make sure you calculate all of this. Okay, baggage purchases. Check carefully that your bags meet the specifications that appear on the website. Remember, this includes both a size and weight restriction, and adherence can be random. So I say that to say there have been times I've never checked the weight of my carry-on bags. But my personal items, I've never checked the weight either. Well, I take that back. One time I did. But for the most part, I've never had them so much check the weight of my carry-on bag. But I have had Frontier to check the size. And if it didn't fit inside of their little steel container at the airport, then you were going to have to pay extra. And that extra ended up being $60 extra. So these are things you need to be aware of when you're making your choices. 4. It is possible to reduce expense by choosing to mail back items to yourself. This is an option for Israel only. Okay, so Tanzania is a whole different story. We're not talking about USPS. We're not talking about postal service. Their postal service system is a lot different. And especially when you're talking about dealing with coming to America, because just go to your stores. How many times have you seen made in Tanzania? Right? Unless you're in part of this Tanzania business that just established bilateral trade relations with New Orleans, then you're not going to see that. So that tells you something. That tells you that getting things brought here is a lot more challenging. And there are people we know who live, I know of who live in Tanzania, and, they wait for people who they know who are coming that way to say, hey, can you bring this with you? So I say that to say that Israel, you can always mail things back. This would become a significant thing to do if you know you need to make room for whatever you may want to purchase in Tanzania, so that you don't find yourself in a situation where you're going to pay an insane amount of money to get an extra bag added on to whatever you already have. And you have to weigh the cost. If it's only $25, then yeah, just get the extra bag. But if it's, it's going to be $100, then yeah, you might want to ship it back. Okay, and finally, keep in mind where we are going when packing. So, I say that to say that when you go to Israel, we're talking about warm weather, and we're going to get more into the details of what you wear and all of that later on. But keep in mind that there are places we'll be going, and especially the way we travel, if you're traveling, staying at Airbnbs versus hotels, and even if you're traveling at some hotels in Israel, there are not always going to be elevators. And they're not going to be people who are going to help you carry your luggage. That is not the culture. So you're talking about, carrying lots of luggage. You're going to have to carry yourself and take up stairs. And I'm talking, sometimes these are a lot of stairs. And not just a lot of stairs, but you're talking about made of, when you're talking about made of wood, wood will hurt, but I'm talking about made of marble. So, marble or, things along those lines, or like cement. You don't want something that's made of something hard like that for you to fall on or your loved one to fall on. And you certainly don't want to have to be carrying heavy, heavy bags up those stairs and so forth. So, for so many reasons, it's going to be to your advantage to travel light as you possibly can. So keep that in mind when packing. And one beautiful thing about both of these places we're going to is God gave those places the most favorable weather, so that it's not like you have to lug around, big fur coats or, big boots, because you're not going to be going through snow and things of that nature. You can actually travel light. Take advantage of that.